What's up guys, name is Dre and welcome to another Genshin Impact video. In today's video I want to do a comparison between Ganyu's best artifacts for DPS and support. So how I want to do this is I want to show you my artifact pieces. I want to explain on which role they would fit, how I would use this artifact set, and then I want to show you like actual game footage where I don't want to talk so you can enjoy the numbers for yourself. So the weapon for the video that I want to use today is the Stringless. I use Stringless because it has a very consistent base attack and it doesn't add any important substat to it. Also, the only thing would be that Stringless does add a bit on elemental skill and elemental burst. So just notice that when you see like my damage numbers, but I do not have any other weapons. So what I want to recommend real quick, if you want to use Ganyu as a DPS, for 4-star weapons I would use Prototype Crescent and Blackcliff Warbow. Prototype Crescent is better if you can refine it, then I would use this, because also you only have to craft this at the blacksmith. You only do need prototypes for it, while for Blackcliff Warbow you do need 24 of the Masterless Stardust. For support, I would recommend Stringless if you want to work with elemental reactions, especially in a melt comp or in a freeze comp. I think Stringless is a very good option. Sacrificial Bow is very good if you want to make more use of her E, of her turn, like controlling more the field. And Favonius Bow is really good if you want to ult more often. So depending on what you want to do, Stringless, Favonius Warbow, and the Sacrificial Bow are the three options as a supporter. For 5-star weapons, of course, Skyward Harp and Amos Bow is her best DPS option. Constellation-wise, I do not have any constellations built on her, and talent-wise, all her talents are level 6 for the video. The stats I will show with the specific artifact sets. So let's get right into the first artifact set, which is the Blizzard Strayer 4-piece set. So talking about the 4-piece Blizzard Strayer set, I think the most important aspect is the 4-piece set, which is the critical rate application through the cryo effect and through the freeze effect. So if you want to utilize this set to its full potential, it is very important that you use a freeze comp. Now let's show like the pieces real quick. So what I want to do in general for the showcases, I want to swap between the pieces. I will always let the cryo damage bonus, because in all of the roles this will be the best in slot, and all the other ones I will move around like for the other artifact pieces. Yeah, so with this artifact set, she has 14,900 HP, 1,529 attack, defense 690, elemental mastery 324. That's because of my Stringless. We have a 32% crit rate and a 210% crit damage. So what I want to show with this artifact set is that I still can consistently crit as long as I have a cryo application or a freeze application or both of it. So if you have like lower than 30% crit rate, because my artifact sets have pretty good crit rate substat rolls, even if I use a crit damage circlet, I want to show you that I can increase this very consistently. Usually, if you do not have Ganyu that can increase your crit rate, then you want to have at least 50% crit rate, which is really tough to get if you use a crit damage circlet, or if you use a weapon that doesn't give any crit rate. So for team comp, as I said, you really want to have a very consistent cryo and freeze applicator. So cryo applicator, of course, is Ganyu in this role as the main DPS. We want to use Shinshu as the Hydro applicator, alternatives for Shinshu or Barbara and Mona, and Child as the only other Hydro characters. So if I should rank them, I would say, in my personal opinion, Mona is the best cryo applicator, followed by Shinshu, followed by, okay, let's say Shinshu and Child are like even, but if you use Child, then Ganyu is not your main DPS. You only can use her as the sub DPS, since Child doesn't work really well as a supportive DPS, I would say. Maybe as a secondary DPS, but yeah, Child is like a very selfish character, so you usually want to apply cryo first, then use Child and do damage. But for all the other characters, it is the other way around. You can apply Hydro first and then attack with Ganyu. Barbara is alright, so if you do not have Shincho and you cannot use her, or you miss out on a healer, Barbara should work out as well. But she is not as consistent as all the others. Yeah, other than that, you can add in elemental resonance, which I can do right now. So let's swap Sucrose for Chaos. So you can literally use any other cryo character. You can use Chi-Chi. I don't have Chi-Chi, but you can use her, especially as a healer. Building a Coco team, you can use Diana as the healer. I think this is one of the strongest options. Also adding in a shield. You can add in Changyeon. I think like all the cryo characters do work for this. In my personal opinion, I think Diana is the best in slot for this if you want to have this. Last slot, I just put in Jean as a healer. Literally, you can put in any other character. You can put in like Bennett if you want to. So you can have like a melt comp in addition to that. But I just want to use Jean, so I can heal a bit more consistently. I don't want to use melt, so I want to show the Blizzard Shreya, of course. Let's get in. Okay, one thing that I forgot is maybe explain how it should work. So I want to use like E with Shinchu, then attack with Ganyu, use E or auto attack. Or the other way would be to use Shinchu's ultimate, use a charge attack with Ganyu. After this, do a normal attack, so it does freeze, because I think the Frost Flag Arrow doesn't apply the ultimate from Shincho. So you will see this in the gameplay footage followed by now. There were just like the numbers, how it should work. I think it is very easy. The only problem is that you have to use like charge shot, auto attack, charge shot. So this is a very small time window. Usually you can do a lot of animation canceling, which is very hard doing this. So if you want to increase your crit rate because you do not have crit rate, use the elemental resonance to add in 50% crit rate if you do freeze, and use the cryo application. So this is basically like a third additional attack to the to the 4-piece Blizzard Shreya set. You don't have to use a elemental resonance if you have enough crit rate, but if you want to add on crit rate, I would definitely put in another cryo character, healer, and the most important thing is of course a water character for the 4-piece Blizzard Shreya set. Alright, for the next artifact set, I swapped into a Gladiator's final set and a 2-piece Blizzard Shreya set. So in general, I think this is the best combination that you can build. It is also the most, it is the easiest to achieve if you want to run Ganyu as a main DPS. This is her, in general, best in slot, because you don't have to specifically run a freeze comp. You don't have to specifically run a elemental reaction comp. You can just fit her into your team, build her as a main DPS, and then you can build around her without thinking too much about elemental reactions using the optimized artifact sets. So I just want to show like the artifact pieces real quick. They the cryo pieces are the same. I choose the crit rate helmet over the crit damage helmet, which I also have, basically because now you do not have the consistent cryo application through the 4-piece Blizzard Shreya set. I want to have at least 50% crit rate, so I did pick up this piece to have 62% crit rate. We lose a bit on crit damage, so we only will have 150, so we will do less numbers, but we have like 100 more attack. I think we lost a bit on elemental mastery, but it doesn't really matter. We have a bit more HP. And yeah, let's hop into the damage numbers. Yeah, since the two-piece Gladiator set doesn't acquire any specific team comp, I just use the same, but I only use Ganyu. You can see the numbers. You can just increase them by putting in like a Bennett or anything else. This is like the most easiest artifact piece set to build around. Next one is the Wanderer's Troupe set. I actually do think that you can put out the highest damage numbers with Wanderer's Troupe in a melt composition when you are able to get very good substat. But it is very, very, very hard to get good substats on a full piece Wanderer's Troupe set. Reason for that is that we are not guaranteed to get 5-star pieces of that before adventure rank 55. So you have to be at least 55 to get a guaranteed drop on the world bosses. And then even then you only have a 50% chance to be a Gladiator piece or a Wanderer's Troupe piece. And in addition to that, it costs 40 resin for one piece, because if you run like if you go like in a artifact engine, you only have to buy 20 resin and have to be at least adventure rank 45, so you get at least one piece, 5-star piece. Yeah, so for that I have a very mediocre Wanderer's Troupe piece, except like for the feather. These two subsets are pretty bad, but crit rate and crit damage are alright. Another thing is they are only plus 16, except for the feather, which is plus 20, but the damage increasement from plus 16 to plus 20 is not that huge, so the difference shouldn't show up in the numbers that much. Attribute wise, we have 11.2 crit rate, 175.5 crit damage. I do have 1756 attack because I am currently on the elemental resonance. So maybe let's remove a fire character real quick, and then we can see the normal damage numbers, which is 1554. We have 353 elemental mastery because of stringless and because of the 80 of the Wanderer's Troupe. Alright, for team compositions, as I said, the best would be to use a melt comp. So I would add in elemental resonance to get the 25% attack bonus. I would definitely pair with Bennett, Jangling, and Sucrose. Sucrose can increase elemental mastery because you already work with elemental mastery, and then you can do the elemental reactions. Actually, Ganyu as the reactor, so you will do the melt comp the other way around with a 150% multiplier. Yeah, I think this is like the best in slot team that you can use for the melt comp, but the downside for me is I don't have enough crit rate. So for this comp, you do not get enough crit rate because you only will get crit rate from Ganyu's passive, which I didn't mention at the beginning. So if you use a Frost Flake arrow, you get 20% crit rate for 5 seconds. But in this version, you would need a lot of crit rate on the Wanderer's Troupe. Unfortunately, I don't have a crit rate circlet for Wanderer's Troupe. I only have crit damage. But if I would have one, I would use it to increase my crit rate on this comp, because crit rate is very important in the in this comp. So if I show it, cannot show like proper melt compositions, but I can show like the raw damage of my Wondrous Troupe. I can show the melt damage, but it won't crit. It will be very hard to crit. Because my Xiangling is not built out, I will use Diluc, but I only will use him as a fire applicator and not as like the power monster that he is. So let's go and hop into find some monsters. Okay, luckily I was able to put out some crits because I did hit the weak point, I guess. So just to explain the comp real quick, Sucrose has the Elemental Mastery sharing, and because I have already so much Elemental Mastery of the Wondrous Troupe and the Stringless, I was able to do a lot of melt damage, so it is like double the amount. So this one can go even up higher if you have a better Wondrous Troupe artifact set and if you would have a better weapon. So keep in mind I only would have a Stringless. Even if I would lose on that 100, how much just Stringless give? Even if I would lose on that 165 Elemental Mastery, with all the other Elemental Mastery buffs with a attack weapon like Prototype Crescent, Blackcliff Warbow, I would deal even higher numbers. I think I would exceed even like the 30,000 or the 40,000 mark. Okay, the last one that I want to show is a 2-piece Blizzard Trader, 2-piece Noblesse or Bleach set. So this would, I would build this if I want to do like a more ult spam build. So actually I wouldn't use a Stringless then, I would rather use a Sacrificial Bow or a Favonius Warbow if I would go for this build. Another option would be to replace the 2-piece Blizzard for a full-piece Noblesse or Bleach set, so you can get the 4-piece set to get some buffs out. So I just want to show like the subsets real quick from my Noblesse pieces, and of course again from my Blizzard Strayer pieces. I choose crit rate for this one, ending up having 60,400 HP, 1,500 attack, 663 defense, 289 elemental mastery, 61 crit rate, 155 crit damage. Yeah, this one would go like actually for sub DPS build, so I would utilize way more often her abilities. That's why I will only show you the damage, or I will mainly show you the damage from the abilities. As I said, other option would be Noblesse or Bleach set, but then you would lose a bit on cryo damage, but then you can like buff your other team members by 20% attack, which I think is also very strong. Yeah, because the damage will decrease a bit, but you get this one. I think I won't show the full Noblesse or Bleach set, but I will show you guys the, of course, two-piece set, so you can see like proper damage numbers from the abilities. I will do some auto attacks so you can just see those numbers. Actually, I would go more for the first 3 builds, but yeah, let's go in and see those numbers. So yeah, as you can see with this artifact sets, the numbers are a bit lower in general for the auto attacks. They are very similar, or they are a bit higher for the ability damage. But the good thing is, as I said, you want to use this with a Favonius Warbow or a Sacrificial Bow to have more energy recharge. And the good thing on this set is that you want to use this more often. So I just wanted to show you like the damage numbers that you can expect. But you can use this way more often if you want to go for the support route. Okay, if we want to summarize this, I would say best in slot is 2-piece Blizzard Slayer, 2-piece Gladiators in general, because we want to build around our combo very free. So you are very free in building your combo. You just can throw in Ganyu as your DPS, and then you can choose 3 characters that you like to. If you want to go for the more Blizzard Slayer set, I would recommend this if you like lose out on crit rate, if you cannot get enough crit rate, but then you are forced to use a Hydro character, at least 1 Hydro character, maybe 2 Cryo characters to get even more crit rate. So this is an opportunity to get your crit rate higher if you cannot afford those stats in the subset through your artifact sets. Last thing is actually the strongest, or one of the strongest, is Wanderer's Troupe if you can choose a melt comp, and if you cannot afford to play a melt comp, then yeah, I think nobody really has a Wanderer's Troupe set. Even like the biggest whales cannot show off a proper Wanderer's Troupe set because it's so hard to get some good subsets on it. But maybe you can slowly work on them and increase it by the time. Lastly, I would go for Noblesse or Bleach if you want to build Ganyu as a full supportive character, so she can put out the ultimate more often, but combine this with a energy recharge bow, like Sacrificial Bow, like Favonius Warbow, so you can ult more often and do like the burst from the shards, so you just saw like a 6,000 crit per shard if you crit. And if you want to do the full buff road, I would go for the Noblesse or Bleach set, buffing your members for 12 seconds. Yes, that's it for my artifact showcase, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys do so, like, comment, and subscribe. It would help me out a lot. And yeah, if you have like any questions, just put it in the comments down below. I will answer them as soon as I can. And I'll see you guys next time. If you guys want to see more Genshin Impact content, videos should pop up on the screen right now. Make sure to check them out. And I thank you for your support.